It is 6 o'clock, so we'll call our meeting to order. Thanks. Do you have an motion to approve the agenda as it's written?
So moved. Second.
Is there further discussion on it? All those in favor of approving our agenda as it's written, say aye.
Aye.
On to abstain. Okay. And this is where I let the general public know that this is your opportunity to speak at this board meeting. You will be given 2 minutes. Once we get outside this time, public will be looked at and decided and called by the. So, is there any public that wants to speak? Okay. Consent agenda item. We have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for April 13th and curriculum, social, emotional, health and safety committee meeting the same day. There is a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
And here now, I will declare the minutes are aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay. Order.
Hello. I reviewed the board orders dated on the back of our agenda and everything looks all in order. I'd like to make a motion to approve the board orders.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of approving the board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay. Legislative updates.
Okay. As we head into, I guess, what is the home stretch of the legislative session, I think things are very much still in the up in the air. I think everybody is paying very close attention to what's going on with education transformation bill. That's H955. Senate Education has taken a bunch of testimony to better understand the House version of H955, including the concept around CISAs. They've heard from the field, the AOE, Campaign for Vermont, rural schools, and others. Oddly enough, the main issue the committee has not directly discussed yet is the governance structure it supports. The House version of voluntary mergers, or the Senate version of a different method of voluntary mergers, or the Agency of Education or governor's version of mandated mergers. So I think a lot is still up in the air. I'll make sure to give the board an update when we see the Senate Education Committee taking a clear direction. But it's a little scary right now and a little uncertain, very uncertain. Other things that are going on, the Senate Finance has folded the S220, which basically changed the excess spending threshold and dropped that from 118% down to 112%. That passed out of the Senate and is now in the House Ways and Means, and they're taking testimony concerning the impact. Number of other bills are being discussed. There's one on chronic absenteeism, scholarship granting or ed tech products, PCBs, immigration protocols, all very fluid. There is some testimony that has recently taken place with respect to S190, which concerns public employee health benefits. And there has been some testimony taken to see what would happen, or they're taking consideration on whether the Senate would basically reduce the actuarial value of school employees' plans to the actuarial value of the plans that are provided on the health exchange. So basically what your average everyday Vermonter could get. Not expecting that that's going to really take hold, but it's something that I'm continuing to monitor, and we'll see what takes shape of that. So there's just a lot up in the air, a lot of uncertainty, and expect a really fulsome update next month.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Data update.
Okay, we are looking at data every month because it's just so delicious. We have to take a bite. So we're looking at math. Yay, math. Go to the next
I love
slide. We're just going to review a little bit about some terms before we go over the data. Growth is a comparison of students from one time to another. That is what we're looking at tonight. Growth data for math in two different measures, two different tests. Normative data compares students' performance to a larger group of students, so it's also normative. So it's like how they grew compared to a national set of students who are also taking the same test. Benchmark data evaluates if a student has met specific predefined academic standards for their grade level. This is not benchmark data. So they could grow a ton, but they still might be below grade level, or they might have had a bit of growth, but be far above grade level. This is growth data, not benchmark data. We're going to look at FastBridge. We've looked at that once before, but we're just going to focus on math tonight. This is the first time we're using FastBridge K-8 for all students this year. We started that because it was mandatory to have a highly recommended screener under Act 139. It's comprehensive, research-based, and we evaluate students in reading, math, and they do an SEL survey as well. So here's the math data. Early math is taken in K1. As you can see, 77% of students made adequate or above average growth. And then A math is taken by older grades, grades, I think 2 through 8, and that is 64% of students made adequate growth. Any questions just so far? Right, and again, that's growth compared to other students who took the same test. NWA math is a more broader and even more comprehensive test. FastBridge really helps us know. FastBridge really shows a specific student's gaps. Like it will tell you that child does not know this specific skill. You should go in and help them with that. This is a broader measure of how we're doing overall. So it also measures growth. It's also adaptive. It also informs instruction. It can be a benchmark performance, but tonight we're looking at growth. So the colors, I know we've looked at these colors before because there were 5. It's the only one I know that uses 5 different levels. But basically every level is grouped by 20. So it's like the red is the 1st to the 20th percentile. The yellow is 21st to 40th. Then the 41st to 60th, and then up to the 80th, and then all the way up at the top. So yellow through blue is proficient and not proficient growth. They made enough growth. If they're somewhere, yellow and up. So this is each grade level. So here you can see kindergarten. I don't have them all added up, but you can see over half of students made enough growth. And then there's this group in orange we really want to move along, right? That's really something we're trying to do, is that we have a lot of students very close to where we want them to be. Any questions on that? That goes up through 4th grade right there. And then we can go to the next one. Now, 7th and 8th grade has not taken the spring assessment yet. They had a little bit of a scheduling conflict. So this goes 5, 6, 9, 10, but they will very shortly. We will have that data.
Taking the test tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. So we're very close to having that data. And so you can see about more than half the students are making enough growth. We'll have to see what happens with the benchmark data on BTCAP. These also have benchmark data, but we're looking at growth tonight. Any other questions?
I've got one.
Yes.
How do we share this data with parents?
There are different ways we share the data with parents. And so I'm going to rely on principals a little bit right now to share how at different grade levels we share the data with parents. I know we've talked about how it goes. Great. Thanks, Chris.
Sure.
So because this data and these reports were new to many of our families, we chose this year to roll them out at conferences. And so they were printed, they were used as a discussion point at conferences with families and caregivers as one data point to talk about student progress. And then we sent them home after that. We felt like it was really important to support families in interpreting that data. So we did that at conferences. Kind of from here on out, we feel a little more confident sending it home now that our parents have been supported in looking at it one time, but that's how we started.
Can I chime in too, Kim?
Yeah.
Hey, Katie, this is Rainey. Actually, good timing on this presentation. We just had a Vermont school communicator meeting at the end of last week, and this exact topic came up. And how do we, as a state and as school districts across the state, start to do a better job of deciphering these standardized tests for parents and families, and beyond that, for Vermonters in general, right? I mean, there's so much weight put on standardized testing across the state of Vermont. What does it mean? How are schools actually using that data to their benefit to further help kids? So I just wanted to back up your question, and that I think we're going to try to dive further into this in the coming year to really make sure folks understand what this all means, the percentages, the growth versus that. You know, one number might not mean a student is not doing well, but again, like what are they trying to achieve within the test? And beyond that, Katie can correct me, but I believe the state of Vermont does not teach 2 standardized tests, whereas some other states do exactly that. So
We have standards. The standards are measured by the test.
So
Yeah.
I think there's like a lot of nuance and minutiae when it comes to all of this.
The other thing I would add is that Act 139 requires we inform parents if a student is in the red on FastBridge. That's required for K through 3, but we've tried to model that, and we want to expand it to other grades and use that as a model. What's required if a student is in the, what I have required internally if a student is in the red, is that we then give the student a diagnostic, because although this flags that there's a problem, it doesn't actually, we might actually want to go deeper. So we give a diagnostic assessment, and then a team has to meet together and decide how are you going to fill those holes. And the team decides where the holes will be filled, and then a parent gets a letter home about what we're doing to fill those holes, which I think is a pretty good model. I also do highlight, I think going over the scores at parent conferences is really good. Yeah.
So I'm a little curious because I noticed the 4th grade and the 5th grade both have a lot of red, a lot of orange.
Yeah.
Is it something to do with the new testing, or is it with new standards, or are we failing them? I guess that's what I'm wondering.
It's a great question. We looked at this score as a math committee, and they brought up the fact that we haven't really done professional development on our 5th and 6th grade math program. And so we are going to bring that in next year for our 5th and 6th grade teachers. And that has also been a while for our other teachers, that there was some really strong math professional development. in the district when we first put in bridges, but it's been a while now, and that enough people have turned over, and it's been 5, 6 years, and so that we need to bring that back as well. Yes.
Could we go just flip back to the previous slide real
Yes.
quick? I couldn't help but notice that it seems like, at least in the early grades, the red becomes a bigger percentage.
Yeah.
You know, as you go from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5.
Yeah.
Do you have any working hypothesis or ideas? It's like, what is that? I mean, there must be, seems like a pattern, right?
It is a pattern. It's a pattern in many school districts.
Okay.
And as the work becomes more sophisticated, any little gap you have in math then can build to further gaps. So if you didn't understand shading fractions and putting them on a number line, then adding fractions gets really hard, right? If you didn't understand adding fractions, then ratio and proportion gets enormously hard. And so that's where a couple of things were that professional development of how to sort of start off class and give a little reminder of something that might be a gap, but you could just review briefly. And then also I talked about, like, if a student is in the red, finding out exactly what they're missing, and then we're going to have meetings or how we're going to fill in that hole so that the holes don't grow and grow and grow and grow. Yeah, Dane.
I would just want to share too that we share individual student level data. I don't know that parents in Johnson have seen this aggregate data.
Right.
So that's just a new issue.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
We're sharing with the families their specific child's.
Just my perception, like that's what people mostly want to know, how their child's doing. Any other questions? Great discussion. Thank you.
So unfortunately, Kat was unable to be here this evening due to a family emergency. I don't want to use the microphone. Due to a family emergency, and has asked me to act on her behalf first with welcoming the 3 new board members, Liz Kaufman and Scott Mayer, and Liz Aloisio. Did I pronounce that correctly? And then moving into making the recommendation to the board to hire Randy Reiniger Klein with a 2-year term as the Lamoille Union Middle School principal. And Randy is here joining us virtually. He is in Ohio. Randy, welcome. Good to see you again.
Hello, everyone. I didn't expect it to be a wedding party, but it's super awesome to see all the faces. I recognize a few from my short time down there, or up there rather.
So I'd love to give you the opportunity, Randy, to just give a little bit about your background and to just share why the middle school.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm coming with a background in project-based and problem-based learning. I currently work to oversee, as Academy Director, a STEM school here in Northeast Ohio. We are connected to a medical university. It's called NeoMed, Northeast Ohio Medical University. And our practice is really rooted in that project-based, problem-based experience, focused on integration. So bringing the curriculum together so that students can get deeper with the learning. We're also a restorative practices school. So my background is restorative in nature, especially with regards to student discipline. I come with 12 years of experience, and my family and I are super excited to relocate this summer to New Vermont, as long as I do get approved by the board. But my time in Vermont, while it was short-lived, it was such a welcoming experience. I really enjoyed the opportunity to get to know the students, the staff, and the community at large. It was just so welcoming, and I'm just really looking forward to getting started.
Thank you, Randy. I know you have events this evening, and so please, you're welcome to stay on, but please do not feel that you need to. I know you have other obligations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're actually doing our senior Apex tonight. It's a celebration we do every year for students to kind of defend their learning, which again really aligns with Vermont's focus on personalized learning. I'm super excited to kind of bring my background, from Ohio to Vermont, and I will stay a little bit just to kind of hear a little bit, but I will step out probably before it ends. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Of course. Any questions from any of the board members for Randy? Go ahead, Ash.
One of the things that I'll say on Randy's behalf, when they had the public piece get together, the school board as a whole has been working heavily with the public to get them involved in our budget process. What we do makes budgets go a whole lot easier for us. And Randy, when he was talking to the group, and I think so we'll attest to this, he was very much in that same direction as we're heading and trying to continue going. So I was, when you have a first impression of somebody that's pretty high, you usually go with them. So thank you for doing that. But we're ready to vote.
Need a motion?
Motion to approve this principal hire.
Motion.
Any further discussion?
What are we looking at for a term? Is this a 3-year contract or what are we doing?
2-year term.
2-year.
2-year. Staff fully supports the hire?
Couldn't quite hear you, Stephanie.
It's Katie, but I was just wondering if the staff is fully behind the hiring.
So we did hold a meet and greet with the staff, the students, the community, the administrative team, and the feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and in support of offering Randy the position as the middle school principal.
Okay, thank you.
Stephanie, do you have a question or?
Oh, no, I didn't. I took it off because I was about to lose service, so I was ready to say aye. And then I got full before bars again, so then I quickly put myself back on mute.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to hire, and we had a second already. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of hiring our new middle school principal, say aye.
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 Those who abstained? Okay, all for vote.
Thank you so much, everyone. I'm really looking forward to getting started. Working on selling my house and finding a place to live. So those are the next steps.
Randy, the HR team will be in touch with you in the next couple of days just to finalize next steps.
Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you. Next recommendation is to renew Eric Remmer's contract for a term of 3 years effective July 1, 2026. I'd like to just take this opportunity to recognize that under Eric's leadership, the Tech Center has its highest enrollment in over a decade, maybe even longer. And then also to share that there is a new engineering program that he has created and developed, and just some really great work. So thanks for all you do, Eric. I'm not sure if there's anything that you'd like to share about that, about the engineering program.
That I want to share about the
That
engineering
you would like to
program?
share.
It's a great program. Come check it out.
I'll make a motion to accept Eric for a 3-year contract extension.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of offering Eric a 3-year contract, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those who abstain? Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Cardiac emergency response.
Want me to do it?
I'm gonna make me leave this in myself. I'm just gonna listen. We didn't bring enough of these for everybody, so we're gonna scan them out to board members because principals are gonna give them. Hello to the new board members. My name is Randy Tebow. I am the Director of Marketing for the school district, marketing communication, and then I work alongside Dylan and Cole in terms of trying to champion our district safety efforts. And certainly happy to give the new board members the full rundown on our approach, how we got where we are today in terms of school safety. Today, we specifically are going to talk about one of the newest pieces of school safety in Vermont, and that is Act 72, which covers the cardiac emergency response plans that have been mandated by the state of Vermont for each school district to now have in place starting July 1, 2026. So we have a few very short slides about what Act 72 is, its purpose, and what it does, and the actions that we've taken up to this point. Thank you, sir. So Act 72 was signed into law June 27th, 2025. Again, with a focus on cardiac emergency response plans. This was in response to certainly a growing focus on sudden cardiac arrest situations that have grown in schools and in athletics, not only here in Vermont, but certainly across the country. It's focused on AED accessibility and use for staff members, and then just overall emergency preparedness and response. And really the goal here is to ensure schools are prepared to respond quickly and efficiently during a myriad of cardiac emergency response events. So what does Act 72 require? The key requirements include clearly marked and accessible AEDs and locations. There needs to be AEDs available at our athletic venues. We need to be doing routine AED maintenance. We need to have CPR and AED certified training and drills. Our emergency response protocols in place for cardiac events. And then we need to, as sort of a side piece to all of this, we need to have in place an athletic emergency action plan for sport-related emergencies, which would then include any cardiac events, which I just covered. So there it is in writing. So what have we done so far? So far, we have taken the mandate for the state of Vermont and we have now included that in our district level emergency operation plan. It falls under of the medical category in our district EOP. And for the new folks at the district level, we have that emergency operations plan. My go-to saying is that it's sort of like the peak of the umbrella, and then all of our individual school safety plans fall underneath that. Each one of our schools has an emergency response plan. And then there's a pared down version of this that is now lives within all of our school emergency response plans as well. So we've done a lot of work to incorporate this into our plans. We work with our district nursing team in terms of AED updates and that maintenance that is now required to do this law. And then moving forward, we're going to work to identify all of those important training opportunities for staff members. And a key piece of this cardiac emergency response plan is that you need to have a cardiac emergency response team, a CERT, in place in each one of our schools. So we'll be establishing those. And, you know, one of the fun parts of having all of these school emergency response plans in place is that there's a lot of different places that teams are mandated. So I think our vision is that these CERT teams will basically be copies of some of the other teams we already have in place. We have safety teams in each of our schools. We also have first responder teams for our strategic system. I think our vision is that this next set of team needs will sort of already live within the teams where we have in place.
Hopefully they're going to overlap so that basically it's all the same people doing, it's just more work. More work on the same amount of people that we have currently.
So again, we kind of just covered this. So we need to have clearly marked AED locations. We need to have those response teams in place. We need to have that staff training and then deliver drills throughout the year to make sure folks are really feeling comfortable with what their roles would be in the event of a cardiac emergency. And similarly, Tim Messier, Stacy Stokes, our athletic directors here on this campus, they have that athletic emergency response plan already in place. So similarly, we're just rolling this into their already established plans. Ultimately, we're trying to do everything we can to have ourselves and our staff members across the school district ready to react and respond. The faster we do those things, the greater chance there is to potentially save a life. Dylan, I don't know if you want to add anything, if I missed anything.
No, it said possible action. There isn't really any action that needs to be taken right now. This is just to make you guys aware that this is being added to our emergency operations plans. And again, I downplayed it a little bit, but this site, actually, we had an event a handful of years ago where an AED had to be deployed on our athletic fields. We've always had a plan that's not quite as in-depth as this, and it did save a life. So, it is something that's somewhat needed. Very needed, not somewhat needed. And so, like I said, it's just the next step of our safety evolution.
We have a safety district level safety working session happening Wednesday that includes a handful of administrators and then all of the principals who are here. So sneak peek at this, but it's going to be a chance for everyone to just get into those plans and make those necessary updates. So looking forward to that. Happy to take questions if people have them. Yeah.
Is there any plan for getting older students who may want to take a CPR class certified? Because sometimes it's on a school bus with a bus driver or in a classroom with a teacher.
I think it's a great point. I think we are trying to already think about ways to better engage our district safety and then also in-school safety efforts. Having a stronger bridge between those efforts and the students themselves. So I totally agree with what you're saying, Denise. We have Eric's Allied Health Program to host a bunch of different trainings over the year. And I know that they deliver it yearly, whether it's Stop a Bleed or CPR. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities there to empower all of our students.
Anybody else? Okay.
Thank you.
Were the LNMUUSD audited?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. So in early April, we issued a public request for bid on financial auditing services for the fiscal years 26 through 28. We advertised in the 7 Days newspaper and sent direct RFP information to RH Smith and Company, Duke McGinnis Consulting, and Cattell, Brannigan and Sargent were our current auditors. RH Smith and Duke McGinnis did not bid. So at this time, the administration is recommending that the board move to accept the sole bid from Cattell, Brannigan, Sargent to continue the audit services. Cattell, Brannigan and Sargent continues to receive positive references, clean peer reviews, consistently has provided excellent auditing services, and additionally provides a strong partnership with our finance team in supporting and ensuring excellent accounting, excellent internal controls, and an excellent financial product that comes out to the district. So I would look for a motion to award the FY26 through FY28 audit services to Cattell, Brannigan, and Sargent.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of accepting this, Cattell, Brannigan, Sargent's bid, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained?
Thank you. They're great. We love working with them. So, do you want to?
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the tax anticipation note for new board members. A tax anticipation note is basically We work with the banks to make sure we have funding before the tax revenues are received, tax anticipation note. We went out to bid. We sent bid requests to Community Bank NA, Union Bank, Community National Bank, and Northfield Savings Bank. Those are the known municipal lenders in our area. Community Bank NA and Northfield Savings Bank only bid a line of credit. They did not bid a note with a reinvestment. So we're looking at Union Bank and Community National Bank for the note with an investment. Union Bank lending rate of 3.34% with an earnings rate on the reinvestment of 3.75% gives us a gap or spread of 0.41% of 41 points. Community National Bank has a lending rate of 3.23% and an earnings rate on the investment of 3.63% with a spread or gap of 0.4% or 40 points. In addition, both banks will let us earn funds in the investment in amounts greater than the note or what we borrow. That's something sort of new when the interest rates started to get good. They started to let us earn on everything we could put in that investment. Union Bank will give us the 3.75 on every dollar we put in. Community National Bank will do 2.5% unless we move our banking relationship over, in which case they will give the 3.63% and 2% on the checking account. However, Union Bank now is giving us 3.5% on the checking account. So the recommendation is to keep our banking relationship with Union Bank and award Union Bank the tax anticipation note with reinvestment for the FY27 fiscal year.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Union Bank for the tax anticipation borrowing bid, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? And for the record, I'll be abstaining because my wife works there. Okay,
Thank you.
and the Chromebook bid.
Alrighty, I am here a little earlier this year, compared to last year, just because of the volatility of purchasing technology nowadays, with manufacturer and shipping delays. So these two that I'm going to talk about today are still coming out of the FY27 general fund. However, I'm talking about getting them approved early so that we can start that ordering process. So starting with Chromebooks, we sent out a bid to 3 known vendors that we work closely with, as well as publicly posted on our website. The responses we received from both bids were much higher than we have been used to in past years because of computer parts and the increase in pricing, as well as volatility around shipping and holding that cost for us for the period that we need to. So my leadership team met and we have restructured our replacement cycle for devices throughout the district, all while still trying to maintain the physical security of devices by allowing them to be used longer in the classrooms. So I broke down the bids here. We only got one bid back on both of these. 2 vendors did not bid, and that's simply just because they could not keep the hold our pricing until FY27 and agree to the shipping after that. So we have dropped down the number of units we're looking to purchase for Chromebooks to 275 units. This is for the district wide from a quantity of 450. So it brings the overall cost down to $161,443.80. So at this time, the administration is recommending that the board award the bid to Resilient Networks for the centralized Chromebook purchase in the amount of $161,463.80. $161,443.80 paid for the FY27 general fund.
We have a motion.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Question for Cole. Sounds like you're lengthening your refresh cycle. Like what was, I didn't hear the duration. Is that moving from like a year or? what?
Yeah, so we're trying to focus on secondary, having, the newer Chromebooks that last them through their senior year. So there are some sites that will have a 5-year cycle. Some will still be at that 4-year cycle. Because elementary schools are a little softer on their devices. Some of them will see, the devices that don't have a warranty left in them, while keeping a warranty for our secondary levels, who we see more repairs happening for. Yes.
Do you have a cost per, I mean, I just did it out, it's $585, but is that just the machine or is that including anything else?
So it's actually, we're purchasing some for Cambridge without warranties, and then the rest are with warranties. So of that 275 Chromebooks, 35 of them are without warranties for a per unit price of $434.28. And the remainder, 240 are $609.35 with the warranties.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of taking care of our Chromebooks through Resilient Networks, say aye.
Aye.
Those abstained? Okay.
Thank you. And the next is for staff devices. Same thing here. We went out to bid for 72 devices. At this time, we're looking to purchase 35 of those. That doesn't mean that as the market changes later in the year, we might go out and purchase some more, but we're focusing on the staff right now that are due for replacements versus the ones that will be further on in the fiscal year. So the only bid we received back was in the amount of $82,792.80, but dropping that to 35 devices brings the bid down to $40,246.50. So at this time, the administration is recommending proceeding with Resilient Networks for the computer purchase in the amount of $40,246.50, also to be paid from the FY27.
Got a motion? Okay. Good.
What's the replacement cycle for staff devices?
It's also a 5-year cycle.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any further questions? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of accepting this bid from Resilient Networks, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? Okay.
Thank you.
Administrator updates.
Awesome. So I'd love to share just a couple exciting things that are happening at Eden with you. We're really excited to have a CLIF grant for next year. CLIF is the Children's Literacy Foundation. It's a group that serves Vermont and New Hampshire. This is a highly competitive grant that's awarded to 12 schools across Vermont and New Hampshire every year. It starts out with a base award of $25,000. And that is a combination of a variety of different things. The goals of this grant are to create a culture of literacy, something that we're already really working hard on, to involve parents and caregivers in our literacy efforts, to support classroom reading and writing goals, to strengthen relationships with our public libraries, and to inspire a love of reading and books. So those are the 5 primary goals of this grant. And in that base $25,000, we have a variety of author visits. Cliff maintains an author list of 50 authors that are available. And so we have a variety of author visits that we're beginning to schedule for next year. We have a number of book giveaways for students. Every student receives 8 to 10 brand new books to take home throughout the year. Next year, there are a number of family events that include additional book giveaways, a final event with an author at the end of the year, and a 3 to 5 day reading and writing residency with an author, someone who will come in and spend a week in our school working with students on reading and writing. In addition, there are some add-on pieces that we were also awarded, including $2,000 worth of books for our classrooms, $1,000 worth of books for our library. And we have enrichment mini grants. Every classroom teacher has been awarded $400 to design a literacy enrichment project for their classroom. We also were awarded a momentum grant for year 2. So beyond next year, there's a momentum grant that it consists of several $1,000s worth of the same types of pieces for year 2. So Erin Neckers, our librarian, is the pillar behind this. She spent a lot of time writing and refining and researching, and we're really excited about that. She's formed a committee at school to help guide that work. It's a lot of implementation work, but she has a great committee that she's formed to work on that. So we're really excited about that coming up for next year. Another really fun thing that we have implemented in the past couple of weeks is we've gone completely paperless with our leave system at Eden. And that's really exciting. We've eliminated all of our paper leave slips. We've moved to a system called ReadySub. ReadySub is a system that is already part of our larger network. It was not an additional cost for us, something that's been available for a while now, but we have not taken advantage of that at Eden. So we've just started using that. It is completely computerized, all of teacher and staff leave requests. It automatically puts those requests out to our sub pool. Folks are able to sign up. It makes all of that remote access really easy. It also allows Jerry in the office to support that, transferring that work into time clock and then into payroll. So that really has streamlined a lot of that work for us. So we're really excited about that. And the last thing that I would just like to tell you about is I'd love to invite everyone to our Memorial Day remembrance. Eden is planning a really significant Memorial Day remembrance ceremony this year on May 22nd at 1:15 in the afternoon. Every one of our classrooms is engaging in presenting at that ceremony. We have 2 guest speakers who are retired from the military. Tim Flynn has a variety of military experience. He is the spouse of one of our teachers, and he will be speaking as a featured speaker, as will Warren Lyon, who is one of our district SROs, who also has some substantial military experience. And again, all of our students are taking part in one way or another in that ceremony. And we've worked really hard to reach out to all of our military and veteran members of our community to invite folks in. So we're really looking forward to acknowledging the commitment of those folks on May 22nd. We'd love to see any of you there.
We had a really busy April. April was testing month. So that was just like what we did. But we came back with a lot of stuff happening in May. We have been working with the Cambridge Rotary folks who very generously offered us to receive a grant so that we could also purchase a lot of books, several $1,000s worth of books for our classroom library. So our brand new librarian, Susie Laurent, spent a lot of time talking with kids, talking with teachers. She listed off a bunch of popular series. She went and borrowed those. She lives in Chittenden County. She borrowed some of those series from her local library to bring them out to see if kids really wanted them. She did a ton of work. And on Friday, the Rotary came to our school, and they did a little ceremony, and all the books were there, and the kids got to see all the books that they could bring back to their classrooms, and they had some snacks, and it was a really great event. And we're like overflowing with books, which is wonderful to see. So we also did a book thing. It was so great. I love it. And then also on Friday, Marissa Vigavani from WPTC Channel 5 was at our school at 4:03 early. I was there at 3:35. That's all I know. To do weather, and she was there all morning, and came into the school and showcased a little project the 3rd and 4th grade was doing. And I don't know if any of you saw it, but she's supposed to send me links to the segments, and when I get those, I can share them out if you're interested. It was super cute to see the kids feeling like they're 15 minutes of celebrity. And then they, had the whole school go out. So everyone had their chance to be on the weather news that day. Right at the end of April, Sally Vargo, who's a longtime teacher at our school, started a tradition many years ago before I even got there, to make blankets. It's called the Linus Project. And so our 5th and 6th graders for many years have created blankets to give to local, probably hospitals and maternity wards, and I don't know, a bunch of different places in Vermont. And so she came in and did that. Our 5th and 6th grade also went into Burlington to the Waterway stage at Mary Mary Theater, and they did their play it was called The Way of the Trout, because they release trout every year and they're very invested in their trout. So they wrote a play about trout and how important it is to keep our waterways safe so the trout can live. And they performed that in Burlington at the end of April. And then we're also having our spring concert on the 26th at 1 o'clock. And if anyone would like to come and see it, you're all welcome. It's going to be a great fun show. All the kids participate, and that also will be videotaped, right, Rainey?
Yeah.
And we'll have to look into that too, in case you can't make it. And I think that's it.
We did the weather thing at Johnson as well. I ended up getting pied in the face. I hope that doesn't happen.
No, I didn't do that.
So we were just awarded the Disney Stage Connect grant. So we will have a musical in the fall. And if we can put it together right, it'll be performed up at Dibden, which I don't know. I learned that is the largest stage in Vermont. Did not know that. So that's very exciting. Our 4th grade teacher, Christine Newberg, has been leading that effort. That's very cool. So any folks from Johnson, I invite you to come over to the library this Wednesday at 5:30. I'm having an Outlook conversation with the community. I'll just touch briefly on some of the points that I'll speak about, and we'll have a conversation about that night. Our current schedule at Johnson is about 15 to 30 minutes behind the average, depending on where you look at regionally. And so when I'm asking students and staff to meet growth goals, to meet benchmarks, it feels a little bit unfair. So I was able to work with Deb and the transportation folks to get an extra 20 minutes into our schedule for next year. Very excited about that, with no impacts to after school contracts, which is awesome. We'll be talking on Wednesday about something called the Target, which is I've been working with all of our certified staff over at Johnson this year to develop 8 instructional practice goals that we're going to hold on to for the next 2 years. That's going to drive our PD. It's going to drive coaching. We've developed scales that I'll use in all my walkthroughs. And so teacher goals will also be based off these practices. And we're really excited because it really has been a whole school development effort, and it was designed by staff. So that's very exciting. And then the biggest news is JPAC. JPAC is our alternative classroom that we're launching next year. It's very bold. I'm very excited about it. So is Jeremy Scannell, and everybody tells you. JPAC is a K-4 alternative classroom. It's for students on IEPs who have behavior issues that prevent them from accessing their classroom instruction. And we're following, it's called the STAR program over in MES in Morristown. So we went and visited them. We talked extensively with the folks that started that program and launched that program there. We felt that we had the capacity in-house, so it'll be 5 to 8 students led by a teacher and a special educator with the support of some paras. And it really focuses on providing a tailored approach for those kiddos in a flexible environment that allows them to access their learning in a way that's beneficial for them, and provides a buffer between what might be an outplacement for a kiddo, right? Gives them another shot to experience success in Johnson at JES. We're really excited about it. So come on down to the library on Wednesday, and we'll talk all about it.
Well, as we saw earlier in the meeting, there are some big changes coming to Lamoille Middle School. And I have to say, I'm just really excited to welcome Randy onto the team. I want to echo what Paula said. Our faculty and staff who spent time with this gentleman really seem very excited about him joining us. And I just think it's wonderful. I'm going to do whatever I can to make his transition as easy as possible when he does get here. So it's very exciting. Some other changes that are coming for the first time since I've been in your community. We actually had some hiring to do this spring, and I am really happy to report that we are almost done with that hiring, bringing on a new science and math teacher, and we're in the closing stages of the process to bring a new English teacher. And the reason I'm bringing this up right now is it's given Lamoille Middle School an opportunity to look at our teams and reconfigure them in a way that creates more balanced teams in terms of having a mix on each of our 4 teams that have historically been in place of veteran teachers and newer teachers as well, which can really help in retention, in mentoring, in coaching, and making sure we have a real balanced level on each team in terms of experience. So this is really exciting. And when we have our hiring done, hopefully this week, wherever some wood is, we're gonna be ready to unveil what those new teams are with a few shifts of existing teachers from team to team. So this is something that's been in the works, I think actually since before I got here, and we're now bringing it to fruition. So this is really exciting stuff for us. A lot of highlights since the last time I spoke before you. One I got to experience was joining Team Infinity a couple weeks ago at the Vermont State House. We had 2 teams visit the State House in the Capitol Complex that last week of April, teams Alpha and Infinity. And it was just a wonderful day, guys, to spend with our 7th and 8th graders in our state capitol. It's so incredibly open and accessible for kids. And they got to have a guided historical tour of the State House itself. They conducted a mock trial with role playing in the Vermont Supreme Court. They did a self-guided tour through the Vermont Historical Society. We had an awesome lunch right out on the grounds and the beautiful lawn. And it was wonderful, I know, for both teams, but it was just so fun for me. And I don't know about you folks, but I've toured the State House a number of times, but that never gets old for me to just know that we as citizens community, they got such a great visit when they were doing it. The big traditional New York City trip for our 8th graders is happening in a few weeks, first week of June. We're gearing up for that. That is very exciting. I don't know if anybody in this room has ever been on that trip before. There you go. This will be my 2nd time going. At Sasha and Darcy Fletcher for the work she puts into that. Her daughter Lindsay is an incredible rite of passage and great tradition for our kids, and that's happening in a few weeks. And I want to invite our board and really everybody here to attend our end of year celebration, the last day of school, June 16th. We do a big celebration honoring each individual 8th grader for their time spent with us. Last year, Beth Ann joined me and we had kind of a passing of the baton. It was, we hadn't done a ceremony like that honoring the kids individually in many years there, and we wanted to pull it off last year. In fact, I got feedback about that on our New York City trip during our 9-hour bus ride with 8th grade parents. I thought I better listen to this, and we put it into place. And it was absolutely wonderful. So it's in my board report. That'll be that last day, June 16, from 8:30 to 10. We'd love to see you there. And finally, while I've got the floor, I just want to very briefly thank this board, this community, for the incredible experience I've had serving you as your middle school principal. I've had a blast working with that team and with all of your kids. It's been as I'm winding down my career as an educational leader, what a way to finish up in the state of Vermont in a community that is so incredibly supportive of their kids, like all of you are. It just allows all of us as principals to focus on our work and our students without the distractions that a lot of communities deal with without that support. This has not been lost on me in my entire time here. It is a gift, and I just want to thank you for it. I've absolutely loved my time here. So thank you for that.
All right, so yes, testing has been a thing. We went through the NWEA map testing, the state testing, and we are still in the middle of AP testing, which is, it's actually amazing to see the kids come in and just really apply themselves to a 3.5-hour test. And I'm excited to see the results. Once testing's over, I mean, we are in, like, it's action packed. As you can imagine, the seniors have a ton of senior stuff they're doing this year. It's like such a close group of kids. Some of it I have nothing to do with. It's outside of school. But we have like prom coming, tickets go on sale tomorrow. So they're very excited. And last week we celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week, but we do like teacher and staff. And student council did a wonderful breakfast for the teachers. It was really cool. They each brought some stuff in. They went shopping and did all these really cool things. And it's just nice to have the students involved. And now they told me that we owe them like a flash student appreciation day or week. So I was like, we'll see what we can do. But so just some cool stuff. Like, I'm always looking to hear stories from different kids. Like, I know all about spring sports at school. I know, but some of our students are out doing pretty amazing things on their own, and then coming back and sharing that with us. So as a school, we sent kids to Iceland over April break with the International Club, and that was phenomenal to see those pictures. But then we had students, Ruben Campbell and Seda McLaughlin. They went to the Junior Free Ride Championship at Kicking Horse Resort in British Columbia, and they're like nationally ranked free ride skiers, and I didn't know what that was. And then I watched a video, and I was like, wow, I'm kind of thankful my kids don't do that. It's like, it's amazing, and they are so good. And last year, Seda actually won nationally. I think she won in her age group, so it's very cool. And then we had a student, Elizabeth Searles, who just traveled to Norway to compete in the world's largest biathlon event. And she was one of 28 students from the US to go compete. And it's fascinating to me. And the fact that they come back and share it, I wouldn't know otherwise, that this is happening. We just had students go to the State House. Our boys basketball program was recognized for their state championship. So they got to go down and see Governor Scott and hang out in the State House. And it was really special for them. They got some great photos on the front steps. Just good stuff. Like the equity design team was just in and presented 3 students. I shared in there, what's fascinating is this is a group of students that they're not afraid to look at the hard data. They're like, they're not afraid to look at the things that areas we need to grow as a school. And then they're not just admiring that problem, like they're out to change their school and make it a better place. And, you know, just being in that room, I'm so proud of them. A couple of years ago, there were student leaders running that have since graduated. And I'm like, what are we going to do without their leadership? And to see these students that are now the leaders, it's pretty fascinating. So.
Thank you. So we are in the final phase of all of our programs, which means that there's a lot of testing for industry certification going on, or college classes are wrapping up. So for instance, on Friday, the entire elective program took their apprenticeship level 1 test and they all passed. So they are all ready to head on out into internships or actually work in the field. I know our engineering program has final testing for their RIT scholarships, and then there are examples of that across the board. Allied Health has just earned their LNAs. So that's kind of what the focus of our end of year looks like, is making sure that those things are wrapped up. We're also in the process of organizing all of the CTSO trips. So Skills USA, we have 3 gold medalists there. They are headed off to Atlanta the first week of June. We have 10 gold medalists in FBLA. They're headed to Santa Fe the 2nd or 3rd week of June. Then the 4th week of June, we have HOSA headed out to Indianapolis. We've got 7 students on that. So coordinating those things for our gold medalists in all those places is always a treat. And let's see, so we have some events coming up. We have the Stowe Rotary dinner is coming up on the 21st. For those who may not know, Stowe Rotary partners with us every year, and they basically give us $35,000, $40,000 worth of scholarships every single year to students directly. The students earn Tools of the Trades awards, where students that are going straight into industry earn Tools of the Trade to then be applied into their next step. Just as much as their college scholarships awarded up to $10,000. So it's a really great partnership, and we're really appreciative of Stowe Rotary because they do this with us every year. There is a we're calling the CTE Tech Expo this year on the 29th. Last year, it was still kind of being pitched as a health fair, but it turned into a little bit of everything fair. And so this has been an informational event where we brought outside vendors and local community partners in to talk to students, teachers, staff, whatever, about their offerings, about we've had folks from Healthy Lamoille Valley in, we've had people from People's Fitness to then bring in machines and all this. Last year it got so big that we ended up having the National Guard flying helicopters onto our fields. So there was a whole car extraction and all this. And we had people, schools coming and talking with all of these vendors and doing all this for a good half day, full day. And it's going to be even a little bit bigger this year with it also having more industry professionals here. There were opportunities for kids to get hands-on with welding and other things like that. And we're going to be doing more of that this year. And that is the 29th. We'll be offering that to all of our sending schools. And then our completion ceremony is June 9th. That's what I got.
Can I just say something real quick? A couple years ago, I had an issue. I have hot water heat, boiler and everything. And something sprung a leak, spewing water all over. I had to shut everything down. And I just went on Facebook and said, does anybody know? No plumber around here. Come in. I got a reply back from a girl I had one of my classes when I was here. She goes, your husband does that work. And he came over and fixed it for a decent price, gave me his card, said, I know other people that did electrical, that did stuff. this is a good example of how these programs work in the community, you know? These kids do belong in our community, so.
Was it Slade Stanley?
Oh, okay. That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business?
Just a little PSA. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I lost my daughter 5 years ago to suicide, and we do a fundraiser twice a year in her memory. And it's coming up this weekend. If you're out and about on Jones Road and Hyde Park on the ATV trail, so we'll be selling baked goods by donation. And they actually, she was really active in the ATV group, and they have named part of the ATV trail in her memory, and they put up a pavilion there so you can have a little picnic. And so if you're in Hyde Park this weekend, weather sounds good right now for Sunday, I'm hoping. We'll be out there raising money for suicide awareness and mental health.
Yeah, I have one. And I'm just wondering if we have a plan or if it's in the budget or, you know, thankfully school's winding down, but fuel prices right now, do we have any, where are we finding money to?
That'd probably be me.
Yeah.
So
How's it all working out?
So we're pretty lucky. Our propane contracts, we signed 3 years. So we have a locked in. So first year was this year. We're paying $1.61 a gallon for propane for the next 2 years. So that's not giving me fits yet. Number two, fuel oil is a little different. That's super volatile right now. We'll kind of watch the market, put it out to bid. Our largest facilities, which is kind of nice, Johnson and this one, are wood chip. So backup is number two fuel oil. And I can tell you, like, this complex, our wood chip actually went down from a power issue for about 5 weeks, and it is astronomically expensive to do number two fuel oil. But the brunt of our heat is all chips, which has been pretty stable as of right now. We do 3-year contracts too. We're up this year, so we'll be doing a new contract. But you know, right now I'm not too concerned with it. I'm hoping that like again, number two fuel oil is going to be the scary thing. Give you a little more context because you're new. Both Waterville and Eden have both number two fuel oil boilers and propane boilers, so we can kind of play the market a little bit. So if for some reason, like I said, we're locked in at propane, if propane's way cheaper, we'll run those propane boilers significantly more than we will the number two fuel oil.
And as far as busing is concerned, because diesel is over the top right now, is that?
It's already quoted contract.
Yeah.
Done deal. And the state, on those kinds of services, the state limits the amount of increase they're allowed to do. So, year-over-year contracts. Now, when they go out to bid for a new contract, that's different, but we're not going to bid for coming year.
And I think
we always, you know, when things like that, we've had surprises with the Hyde Park Electric and the Hyde Park water issues. When surprises like that come, we just watch budgets. And if we need to defer some project, then we defer a project. Just keep track of what's going on.
And you guys will see, we'll bring all the fuel or the number two fuel oil bids to you guys in August. So, and again, and we have in the past thrown all those bids out and said, we're going to wait October. Again, it's roll the dice, but I mean, you know, we purchase enough too that we usually get a pretty competitive price.
Anything else? Open to adjourn.